Hi guys, Alex Peak Performance Reviews. Welcome to another vlog and welcome to another video, this time with the Supra. And obviously it's been off the road for quite some time and we probably haven't had too many update videos on it. This one's going to be relatively short, but I wanted to give you an update on what's going on with the car. Obviously we have told you a little bit about what's kind of going on, but obviously I'm going to start to do a small build series. Hopefully it won't take too long because I don't think we're too far off getting this car back out on the road. But basically I'm going to kind of go through what's being done and how far we're off, I suppose, to getting finished. So first and foremost, basically the whole fuel system's been replaced and changed on this car. We've gone bigger, better. We've gone dash 10 lines all the way from tank all the way down to the rail, dual fed, and then a return as well with a dash 10 line as well. So really big. I'll show you that in a moment as well, or as I'm speaking about it, I'll show you some of that, as much as I can of that, while we go on about some of the other stuff. All the way from kind of the back side, where the kind of fuel cell is, we have a PHR triple hanger. It's a lovely kind of really nice billet top fuel system that also has 3 hangers. We're only going to run 2 pumps at the moment because I think 2 big 450 litre per hour Walbro 450 E85 approved, so ethanol approved pumps. Basically that will give us enough fuel for probably 1400 brake horsepower, and my injectors probably will max at around 1300 also. So that's going to be, for now, for this iteration of the car, it's going to be perfect. So we're only going dual hangers. There's no point heating up the system, even though of course you can stage them and we would stage them, but there's no point putting 3 in there if we don't need them at this time. And maybe in the future we may want to go with a 3rd one, but at the moment two fuel pumps, and I've just explained to you which ones they are, and they're feeding all the way through to the rail. Obviously again there's no motor in here, so I'll have to explain to you what's on the car, but obviously it's a Powerhouse Racing fuel system, the Powerhouse Racing dual fuel fed rail with a pulsation dampener remover, and also everything like that, with ID 1300X injectors or 1350X injectors as well. So like I say, good for a circa 13 to nearly 1400 flywheel horsepower. But probably good for 1100 wheel horsepower, which is the max we're ever going to be able to see from this turbo setup. So it's kind of a perfect match. We don't want to go over the top with the injector size, even though we've got a Cyvex S6GP control in it. So we've got a very clever control system and ECU controlling all of that. Even though we've got a clever system, in my opinion, it's still better to not go over the top unless you need to. And in this case, we really don't need to. We can get to a safe duty cycle at the level of power which we're going to try and put through this car. So I'll show you quickly the fuel cell now. So yeah, excuse, the car is absolutely filthy at the moment. There's a lot of stuff in here as well. But yeah, like I say, there's a lot of stuff going on and building works at the moment. So yeah, excuse the mess in here. But yeah, it's going to be tidied up. We've got, like I say, we've got a lot to do. There's all kinds in here, loads of stuff out. Radiator's just sitting out there. We've got the lightweight RPS LiPo battery, which is in. Didn't pull the pipe in. But yeah, so here it is. And actually in the back here, we've also got a Powerhouse Racing drive shaft. But yeah, this is the fuel system here. Like I say, billet top on this hanger, and this is the triple hanger. We've got this. It's like a kind of like a I can't remember what you call them, like a Dashworks type fitting on top of the fuel cell. I call it a fuel cell. The hanger. Triple exit top mount, so you've got obviously dual fed out of here, but it's wide off, but we can do that because obviously the good thing about this system is it's very big. So it's dualed out to I think it's a 2-8s into the Y, and then goes into a -10 all the way down and through. So nice and big, should be able to flow and support huge horsepower. Actually just looking again, they're all quite big. It's all -10, so dual -10 out here, obviously no restriction whatsoever, into the Y, and it regulates down to 1-10. So yeah, there's basically calculations on a flow of like -10 is it's probably good for 1600 horsepower to closer to 2000, but probably more realistic is going to be around the kind of 1600 horsepower kind of mark. There's I think it, yeah, even the return, I believe, actually I said it is not any smaller, it's still a -10 all the way back. So yeah, it's really good, and we're going to do all kinds of stuff with this, just tidying up in the back, because obviously I have to do that. It's obviously, like I say, been needs cleaning up and whatnot. There's also that's just my catch can, -10 again, lines, and it goes into the front somehow. But like I say, when we get this back on the car, all the stuff back on the car, it'll all become apparent and it will look much nicer. But there's so much we've got to do. Well, I say there's so much. There's not loads to be done, but there's enough work to be done. But I've got help, so thankfully I haven't got to do it all myself. But it is nice doing just the last little bits, especially with the board ourselves. So yeah, I'll go up front to the front and let's see what's going on up here. So again, it's not great lighting in here. I have got my studio lights, but they're probably only coming in from that side, and it'll be awkward otherwise. But yeah, this is kind of the state of the engine bay. And when I say state, I just mean in terms of it obviously is what it is, really. Unless you've got the most sexy, clean, wire-tucked engine bay in the world, when you kind of get a motor out and it's been, it needs a clean kind of thing. It doesn't look nice, so it's hard to see really. If anything, I'm probably thankful that you can't see all the grubbiness of it. But yeah, basically this is part of what something I do need to do. I need to really tidy up in here and do some lovely, weird and wonderful stuff to really clean this up. We're going to do some wire tucking and some cleaning of some pipes. I'm going to start to run hard pipes for any vacuum lines and stuff as well. So any vacuum lines you see with crappy old things like this are going to be changed for hard pipe and braided hard piping and stuff like that. So it just basically gives an added safety factor to hoses that come close to really high temperatures and stuff. So yeah, like I say, this was a fairly tidy engine bay, but it needs a clean and a spray. So we're going to clean it up, spray it, wire tuck, make this look really sexy, and I'll get some really good videos of that and some how-tos and whatnot. But yeah, that's the general gist of it, guys. It's going to be a lot of tidying up, wire tucking, cleaning, but certainly I'm going to kind of give you lots of techie videos about all the kind of things that are being done to the car slowly but surely, and give you some insight as to what it takes to get a car up to the level of that horsepower. A lot of the time it's mass investment, it's a lot of money certainly, and it is, but obviously if you want to do things right and want them to be reliable, yeah, you have to spend the money. You need specific parts with high strength, and often high strength comes at quite a bit of cost, and it does. I've obviously invested a lot of money in this car, especially of late, continual money invested in it, but of late, yeah, certainly even more than ever before. But look, I want to do it right, and I want to make sure it stays reliable when it goes on the road this time round. And yeah, I can't wait to get it back on the road. It feels like it's getting really closer. only because I know the build is moving on. I'm not rebuilding it. I'm not an engine builder, so but I'll give you more kind of insight as to everything else and where it's kind of being built up and stuff like that as well. Because my engine builder for the bottom end is fairly new. It's someone actually I've known for a long time, and they basically build 7-second Supra. They've got a 7-second Supra. They build some 8-second Skylines and build a lot of the fastest Skylines around the UK. So they were always going to be my go-to for the bottom end. So yeah, I'm really pleased to kind of have them on board with kind of doing stuff with me in the future, and hopefully doing some stuff with them, whatever it may be. But no, good friends of mine, and I'll introduce you to the guys there at some point really soon, which is awesome. But yeah, they kind of let me know of what's kind of being done bit by bit, and I'm kind of it makes me even more excited. I am waiting for some final bits from Real Street Performance in America. It's quite a lot of new bits, so that's kind of holding things up now. But I think on paper, or in my head should I say, we've got everything ordered that we need at the moment. And obviously I'll slowly go through what's been ordered, and I'll show you the components rather than just tell you now exactly what I'm buying. But what I will tell you is what I have said in another video and an Instagram live I've done as well. I am building this car to take 2,000 horsepower. We're not effectively going for 2,000 horsepower, but we were originally some time ago going for 1,000 horsepower, and going for 1,000 horsepower and then going for 2,000 horsepower strength-wise is a completely different ball game. So it requires a lot of additional things. I already had a hell of a lot of external components that were very strong on this car, external to the actual block, which are required for that power, or a lot of power. So I've got most of everything I needed, but the internal strength with the the short block is another level, another level for machine work, etc., to be able to take that horsepower. So originally, probably 3-4 years ago, my aim was 1,000-ish horsepower with this car. So I built it to that kind of level. It was, you can do that on a stock block, but obviously it's a lottery as to how long that would last. But building it to a reliable, fairly reliable 1,000 horsepower requires some good forged internals, which we had already done. But we were probably always likely, or this time round, should I say, this time round on the build, we were going to run a race fuel, and we were going to really push the RPM limits and really increase the boost a lot more than we've ever done before with this new turbocharger. For that reason, 1,000 horsepower, 1,100 horsepower, 1,200 horsepower-ish is going to be quite achievable with this K16 race fuel. So the boost pressures we're going to need to run, the ignition to run that, and like I say, the boost pressures and the RPM I want to run on this car, it would definitely exceed the small forged build I had on this car previously. And for that reason, I kind of took a step back and I thought, I need to build this car a lot better. It needs to be a really high realm of build. So it means I have to go back to the drawing board, and I have to certainly invest a lot more money in the car. Do I want to do that? Well, if I want to go for this horsepower, it's pointless just kind of waiting for it to explode, because it will do at those levels. Even though these 2JZs are strong completely out the factory, they need a lot of work, like any car, to get to that level. Less than some, because the components on these, like things like Supras and 2JZs, VG38 DTTs, DETs, like on the R35. These two platforms, for example, are really good at accepting huge horsepower levels, and that's why you'll see people still, absolutely, doing crazy records with these Supras, and also people in now R35 GTRs are doing some crazy things as well. A lot of the components that are on it out of the factory can take huge high horsepower figures, without needing to do too much. Obviously, when you get around about 1,000 horsepower, you need a good bit more, similar on this to the R35, and then beyond 1,200, 1,300 horsepower is next level. So we're buying components to be able to take 2,000 horsepower. It isn't where I want to go with this car, but I want it to be so strong and so overbuilt that if I take this to, say, 1,500 horsepower, which I might, and I'll go on to, then it's built for that, and it probably really should take that all day long if the tuning's done right. I've got race cow and remain at race cow, and I've got a Cyvex ECU and all the right things to be able to take that. But realistically, the most I think I'll ever want on this car is 13, 14, 1,500 horsepower, because I'd like to retain the factory V160 gearbox, which is the stock gearbox, and you wouldn't believe it, but yes, they can take. Most people say there's a hard limit, and people have had more than this, but around 1,500. I'd still say it's a lottery at 1,500 horsepower, but people have had 16, 17, 1,800 horsepower stock blocks, even up to 2,000 horsepower. On stock gearbox. It's gearboxes, V160 gearboxes. But I think it's a lottery anywhere near 1,500. So I think if I was to take this up a little bit more, I'd probably go 13 to 1,500 max, probably 1,400-ish, 1,300 horsepower-ish. We should be able to get close to 1,200 with this setup I've got, and then maybe next year I might go for a slightly bigger turbo and go for 13, 14, 1,500 horsepower and leave it at that, unless I decide to go for a different gearbox. But one step at a time. Got a lot of plans for this on the stock 6-speed gearbox. I love the fact that I'm rowing gears with a H-pattern gearbox, and that's my plans and my thoughts with this car. I want to have real fun with it. I love the fact that I can say it's still a factory 6-speed gearbox, and it's going to have a huge amount of horsepower. We're building it to do really good 60 to 130s, 100 to 200s, and most importantly, half mile. Maybe the odd VMAX event, maybe a quarter mile, but mainly this is going to be built for a half mile kind of drag. So half mile car. Loose aims initially are going to be 180 to 185 range, but I'd like a bit north of that. But that any car, if anyone knows their biz with half mile stuff, any car that kind of goes above 180, 185 range is serious. So eventually the aim would be 190 to 200, the magic 200 mark would be the aim. Initially I want the 300 km/h kind of mark, which is 186. So I think on this setup we're going to try and get to the 300 km mark. It will be quite hard, especially with the 6-speed box, but it should be doable. We're going to do lots of weird and wonderful things as well, which will be another video, or lots of other videos in themselves. As soon as we get this on the road, lots of plans, lots of clever little plans and things with it. It's exciting. I'm getting excited. I'm also getting very cold here in here. So I'm going to leave it there, guys, and I'm going to leave you kind of hopefully wanting, but there's going to be lots of videos coming up with this, rest assured, guys. And also, if you are here for the Supra and that's why you've come to the channel, yeah, like I say, rest assured there's going to be loads of video content. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. As always, like, share, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you again on the next one. Bye for now.